Let me tell you something that most people don't understand. Love isn't always about constant attention. Just because someone doesn't message you every hour, call you every day, or check in obsessively doesn't mean they don't care. In fact, sometimes the people who love you the most are the ones who give you space, not because they don't want to be with you, but because they trust the bond you share. Real love isn't desperate. Real love isn't controlling. It doesn't suffocate or demand constant validation. True love allows room for growth, for independence, and for life to happen beyond the relationship. When someone loves you deeply, they don't feel the need to prove it every minute. Their love is patient, it's steady. It's in the way they show up when it matters most, in the quiet support they provide, behind the scenes, in the way they think of you even when they are not around. They understand that a relationship isn't built on constant notifications or social media posts. It's built on trust, respect, and shared understanding. The next time you feel ignored by someone you care about, pause and reflect instead of reacting. Ask yourself, is this person truly neglecting me? Or are they showing love in a way I might not immediately see? Sometimes, absence isn't rejection, it's a testament to the strength of love that doesn't need to be loud to be real. Those who truly care will always find ways to show it, even when they're not constantly present. And that is the kind of love worth recognizing, appreciating, and holding on to. Distance in a relationship often feels like a test, but it's not always a sign of disinterest or neglect. Sometimes, being ignored or given space is exactly what strengthens the connection between two people. When someone steps back, it creates room for reflection, understanding, and growth, not just individually, but within the bond itself. Absence allows you to see the relationship from a clearer perspective, to appreciate the moments you do share, and to recognize the depth of the love that exists beyond constant interaction. Think about it. When someone is always around, it's easy to take their presence for granted. But when they give you space, it forces you to pay attention to the subtle ways they care, to the actions they take, behind the scenes, to the consistency of their commitment even when they aren't physically or digitally present. Distance teaches patience, trust, and emotional resilience. It reminds you that love isn't a convenience, it's a choice. And here's the important part. Someone who truly loves you will never let distance weaken the bond. Instead, they use it wisely, allowing both of you to grow, to pursue your own lives, and to return to each other with renewed appreciation. Being ignored at times is not rejection, it's a reflection of maturity, self-confidence, and trust in the relationship. So the next time you feel the sting of absence, don't panic. Don't assume the worst. Instead, see as an opportunity to grow, to understand, and to realize that love that endures silence is far stronger than love that only exists in constant noise. Love is not measured by texts, calls, or constant presence. It's easy to confuse attention with affection, but true love goes far beyond surface-level interactions. Someone can ignore you for hours, even days, and still love you more than anyone else ever could. Because real love isn't about being seen every moment, it's about what someone does when it truly counts, when the stakes are high, and when no one else is watching. Actions speak louder than words. It's in the little things, remembering the details that matter to you, showing up when you need support, protecting you without announcing it, or making sacrifices quietly behind the scenes. These acts, often invisible to the casual observer, reveal a love that is deep, loyal, and enduring. Love like this doesn't demand constant reassurance. It's steady, reliable, and intentional. It knows that quality matters more than quantity, and that true care is measured by effort, not by the frequency of messages or calls. Many people fail to see this because they're focused on immediate gratification, the desire to feel noticed and acknowledged all the time. But love that ignores you sometimes is teaching you patience and perspective. It's reminding you to look for substance, not just noise. The gestures that truly matter will always outlast the superficial displays, and the person who consistently prioritizes your well-being, even in silence, is the one whose love is real. Pay attention to deeds over distractions. Let your heart recognize the depth, even when the presence seems minimal. That is the kind of love that lasts, that builds trust, and that carries meaning beyond momentary attention. Not everyone expresses love in the same way. Some people are loud, demonstrative, and constantly present. Others are quiet, subtle, and reserved, but that doesn't make their love any less real. In fact, the ones who ignore you at times may be the ones whose love runs the deepest. They may not flood your phone with messages or constantly seek your attention, but they show it in ways that are often invisible to the casual eye. Their love is expressed in patience, in understanding, in giving you the freedom to grow without interference. Some people show love by letting you live your life independently, trusting that your bond is strong enough to endure distance. Some love quietly through small gestures, thoughtfulness, or sacrifices that you may not even notice immediately. These expressions are not dramatic or performative. They are intentional, grounded, and enduring. Recognizing this requires awareness, maturity, and a shift in perspective. We are conditioned to equate attention with love, but true love doesn't need constant validation. It doesn't demand your time every second to prove its existence. When you learn to see the quiet love, the love behind the silence, you begin to appreciate the depth that goes unnoticed by most. You realize that someone who occasionally ignores you isn't neglectful. They are showing trust, respect, and a commitment that doesn't rely on superficial appearances. Love isn't always loud, and sometimes it's strongest in its quietest moments. The person who loves you the most may be the one whose silence teaches you the true meaning of care, patience, and loyalty. Understanding love requires emotional maturity, and recognizing it in someone who ignores you sometimes is a true test of that maturity. It's easy to confuse absence with rejection, or silence with disinterest. But love is not always loud, visible, or immediate. It often operates on a level that requires patience, perspective, and emotional intelligence to truly see. Those who love deeply are aware that constant attention is not the foundation of a strong relationship. Instead, they focus on consistency, trust, and the long-term bond that withstands time and distance. Emotional maturity allows you to see the intent behind actions rather than just the actions themselves. It lets you recognize that someone who doesn't reach out every hour still cares, still thinks of you, and still values you. It teaches you to distinguish between temporary absence and permanent neglect, between silence that protects the relationship and silence that harms it. People who love wisely understand the balance between presence and space, between affection and freedom, and between attention and trust. When you approach love with maturity, you stop demanding constant proof. You start noticing the subtle signs. Someone remembering the things that matter to you, supporting you quietly, or standing by you in meaningful ways even when they're not physically present. You begin to understand that true love is not measured by frequency or visibility. It's measured by depth, intent, and commitment. The more emotionally mature you become, the more you realize that someone who occasionally ignores you may actually be showing the strongest form of love, one that trusts, respects, and honors both of you. This is the love worth recognizing and valuing. True love is not measured by how often someone reaches out, checks in, or makes themselves constantly available. Too often, we confuse frequency with affection, attention with devotion, and presence with commitment. But the person who loves you deeply doesn't need to prove it every day. Their care is measured by the weight of their loyalty, the consistency of their actions, and the thoughtfulness behind what they do, even when you don't see it. Love is not a series of notifications. It's a series of choices made quietly, intentionally, and consistently over time. When someone who loves you ignores you at times, it isn't necessarily neglect, it's an invitation to look deeper, to see the love that isn't superficial, performative, or dependent on immediate gratification. True love values quality over quantity. It prioritizes meaningful connection over constant presence. It shows itself in moments that matter, in support, given without expectation, in sacrifice, made silently, and in loyalty that doesn't fade when the spotlight is off. Those who focus only on frequency miss the depth of love that endures through distance, silence, and patience. The key is to learn to value the depth, not the frequency. Someone who loves you profoundly will always find ways to show it when it counts, even if they aren't always around. They trust the strength of the bond enough to allow space, knowing that love doesn't need to be loud to be real. Understanding this allows you to recognize true care, appreciate its subtlety, and honor the kind of love that lasts a lifetime. Real love isn't about constant presence, it's about unwavering commitment, even from afar.